Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm doing a sound check. We've been having some webinars earlier, and the sound was a little funky. So if you can let us know that you can hear me okay, that will be great. Make sure that we've got some. You know what, Trish? Because I'm showing my screen, I don't have access to the question box. So if you can just make sure and let me know really quickly that the sound is good and we can go ahead and get started.
Can you hear me now, Dayna, at the moment?
Yep, I can hear you now. Perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you. There's a little bit of clicking in the background, and everybody else, although we can hear you, there's this constant clicking noise.
Oh dear, I don't hear the clicking on my end. Maybe, is it very bad? Maybe I should hang up and try to call back through, but see, I've already started.
Yeah. And you can't dial in on the phone?
Yeah, let me see if I can do it now, because if I try, because it's saying I'm connected. So let me I am using my phone. I'm not using the computer. I'm already using my phone. So I'd have to hang up and try calling back, but I'm afraid if I do that, I won't get back in. Is it very bad?
It's just irritating. You can't use your you can't use the laptop? Is it worth?
Well, the mic on the laptop, I had problems, so I really wasn't trying to use that one. Let me see if it'll work. Let me hang up and dial back in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Hi, Trish. I'm back. Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
It's much better? Oh, good. Okay. Fabulous, fabulous. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our interactive webinar. This is Dayna Smith, Vice President of Operations, and I'm joined by the lovely Tricia Hughes. And is Geraldine with us also?
Yes, I am.
Or is it just you and I? Oh, hi, Geraldine. Wonderful. So what we wanted to do is a little bit of a different webinar. Instead of a supplier coming on board, we are going to talk to you today really about several items, but the first one being, and the major one, of course, is because we love the expansion of all the new agents that have been coming on board and all the home workers there in the UK. And I wanted to just take a bit of time to go over a lot of the elements involved when it comes to qualifying the client, when it comes to finding suppliers and information where you can go. And then, of course, when it comes to actually registering those bookings, how we do the payments, and what you can expect when it comes to commission payments. So I know we're going to have quite a bit of information, and if I'm going fast, I apologize. I want to get through it all in the hour. So if you do have questions, please submit them in the question box, and Tricia and Geraldine will be lovely to help me when we come time to the question and answer period, and we can try to get as many done as we can. But let's go ahead and just jump right in when it comes to understanding, okay, my screen should be working now, the overview. So of course, these are what we're going to go over today on the call, just an overview and understanding, booking and payments, and then the commissions. So first, the overview. Quickly, I know we are all very familiar with all of the training that's needed to even get started. So new agents, when you're coming on board, of course, probably one of the first things that you're asked to do is that UK regulatory training. And it's very important to get that done because as a home worker, you are not able to sell any holidays to your clients without going through the regulatory training. Now, it's pretty spelled out. You follow through, you take the quizzes and pass the tests, no problem. But what I wanted to mention that is important is when it comes to the APTA certifications, APTA is done once a month, and we send them the list every month around the 15th of the month for them to upload and then be able to get you your APTA training started to and completed. Now, we do get a lot of questions in customer service about, I haven't gotten mine yet. I haven't heard from APTA. And I will say they were behind by a couple of months. So we apologize for that. But again, we give them the spreadsheet every month, and then it's kind of up to APTA to load it all up and get the information out to you, the agent. So I thank you for the patience in these last couple of months. It seems like APTA is all caught up now. And if you have finished your regulatory training, then you should be getting your details and credentials for the APTA training if you haven't received already. But I just wanted you to make that notation, and any directors that are on the calls for your teams to understand if they ask you. The APTA list is sent monthly in the middle of the month, and then we wait for APTA to upload and send you those information. But okay, let's continue on. So of course, when you have clients, what do they want to do? They want to book trips, absolutely, and they want to get those holidays. So what you want to, of course, do is qualify your client for which product makes the best sense for them. And understanding that client is really the key, because you want to have that conversation with them, really get to know the client so that they are comfortable with what you are recommending and you're confident that what you're recommending will be the best holiday for them. So the best way to get that done is really have a strong conversation with your client to dive deep and really get to know them. You're going to ask all the pertinent who, what, when, where, why, understanding the reason for their holiday. Is it actually a celebration or is it a business trip perhaps? If it is a celebration or some type of R&R situation, get some things that they like to do. So have a conversation, ask open-ended questions, not just the yes-no, because the yes-no questions, you don't really get to know that person on the end of the line very much. But ask them, what was their favorite holiday? Where was it? What were some of the things that they did that they liked a lot? What are some of the wish list items that they want to see or do? Or what's important to them when selecting that resort or that cruise line? Find out if they're asking about a land-only holiday. Find out if they would consider cruise in the future, because of course you don't just want to be booking one holiday for your client. You want repeat business, so you want to find out as much as possible. And after this booking, you'd be able to market other options for them in the future if you know they also would love the idea of cruise and rail if you were booking a land holiday, for example. You want to find out who's traveling with them. Do they have a significant other, children, friends, family, who all is going? Get the list and write it all down. Definitely you want to keep a file for all of your clients with their information, so you can go back later when it's time to do some marketing and you'll know what types of things, who they have in their household, what trips would make sense for them and what they might be interested in. Find out if they need airfare, what airports are convenient. I know here in the States there are lots of areas where people may live 45 minutes in one direction is one airport and an hour in another direction is another airport. And around here, most folks, if they're saving maybe $300 on the airfare, they wouldn't mind that extra drive time to get there. So ask them what airports are convenient and what they would be willing and flexible to go with. Find out the dates of birth for everyone in the party, because that can really affect the price, especially right now with the COVID-19 out there. There are some bookings that are still happening. I'm happy to note we booked about 2 million last week. Usually this time of year we're about 6 million, so we have taken a hit, but we've got clients still booking. So it's a great opportunity. People are looking at late 2020, early 2021 for some of their trips, because they know this virus business will be behind us by then, hopefully. So what you want to do is get the dates of birth for everyone traveling, so that you know what age they'll be at the time of their actual booking dates, and you can keep that for future use. Find out if their dates are flexible. Very, very important, because especially if you deal with airfare, if you can go a day or two in either direction, it could really affect the price. So see if they're flexible with those dates so you can play around a bit. But you definitely want to ask those questions around favorite trips, what they've liked the best, because then it opens conversation. People love sharing their travel experiences, and they don't mind letting you know what they are. Or maybe you ask them, what trip didn't you like at all and why? And you'll know to steer clear of those types of things. Maybe they love museums and cultural and not so much the shopping and the nightlife. You'd want to know that. So you pick the right areas for your clients to be. Okay, so once you've done that and you've had a conversation, you definitely want to look at our partners and see which ones are the best match for your client. Thanks to Tricia and Geraldine, we have so many UK preferred travel partners now to choose from, which is great. You can go right into your back office if you're just off the top of your head not familiar. Don't think you have to memorize anything. And you can go right in your back office and find a little bit of information about each of our partners, what they specialize in, and see if that would be a nice partner to check for your client. You might narrow it down, maybe have a couple in mind to explore, dig deeper, and get those quotes. But it's all there in your back office, right at your fingertips for you to find in that preferred partner guide, that red guide. You can look right at that PDF form. So, of course, not only are you qualifying your client, but you're also qualifying the partner and the supplier, because we do have a lot to choose from, but some suppliers cater to particular markets where others don't. I know I'm spilling the beans on an upcoming partner that we have coming, Kentucky, and they specialize just in that 18 to 35-year-old market, and that's it. So you'll want to qualify your partners to see what kind of holidays they offer, what kind of services they offer, and what are they really known for. Because some might not service kids, maybe other ones have kids that go free. Maybe some include the transfers, and it would reflect in the overall cost. Maybe some you would add on as an addition with some of our other partners to get that full holiday experience. So you'll want to look through and understand our partners. Now, if the preferred partner guide isn't enough, of course, please do not forget about your webinars that are archived in your back office. That InteleTutorial section of your back office, you can go right in there and you can take a look at some of the ones we have archived, recorded, and put there for you free of charge. So you can see them anytime you would like. Of course, you can find it there in your back office under the Book Travel tab, Preferred Partners. And when you go to them, all the preferred partners, like I was saying, are listed there. You can actually flip the boxes on the name of the preferred supplier, and it will give you information, a snapshot, what they specialize in, what they are known for, and which client might appreciate their inventory the best. So make sure you take a look at that partner info. Okay. The InteleTutorials, like I mentioned, archived and are always available for you. There's different ways to search. You can pick directly with the supplier themselves. So maybe if you want to learn all about major travel, you just click on that and it'll take you to the major travel webinar. But maybe you want to browse by category. Perhaps you're looking for great beach vacations. You can click on that, and all of our suppliers that specialize in the beach will show, and you can peruse at your leisure. So it's a nice tool to help you, again, narrow down and find the best for your clients. So don't feel that you don't, you have to search and you're not sure of where to go first. Start with your preferred suppliers first, because we have special rates with them. We have better inventory and better commission, overall commission rates and pricing. So that's really the way to go in your first step. All right. So once we've done that a little bit, you find some partners. Now you'll want to register with them so that you can actually make the booking. Very, very important step, because if you don't register as an agent, they're not going to realize that you are a home worker and not pay you the commission. So you definitely want to make sure you're registered with all of your suppliers prior to making the booking. Because, of course, a consumer can go on any website and make a booking. And if you're not registered with them, they're going to think you are a consumer and not a home worker. So please follow the directions on how to register for the different suppliers. All the instructions are located right there on the partner page of the preferred supplier in the book. You also will receive a lot of registration information when we announce new suppliers, and you get the email communication from InteleTravel. It will have it in there as well. And sometimes when you're perusing and you call suppliers prior to making the booking, you can ask them for the registration information and they'll give it to you that way. So lots of ways to make sure that you are registered, but every supplier is a little bit different. So please, it's always best to look for it in that preferred partner guide, because many of them have different instructions that will vary from partner to partner. Some are very quick. Some, the response time back from the supplier may be a little lengthy. Now, I'll ask for your patience when it comes to that portion, because some of our suppliers, their departments are a one or a two-man show, and that's it. So it could be a little bit of a lag to get your registration credentials. So please understand that many of them are larger suppliers, the Funways, the Contikis, and the like, where they have a larger customer services department. But some of our suppliers are quite tiny, and their customer service, for as far as the registration portion goes, might just be up to one or two people. So if there is a lag, understand they're getting through the list as fast as possible, and they'll get you those credentials as soon as they can. All right, so let's move forward. Of course, when it comes to quoting your client, you do want to come about it the right way to get the best response back, and of course a yes, because you want them to book with you. So there are some quoting tips that I'd love to offer that might help your closing rate to be able to get those bookings to go. Of course, always having a second option would be the way to go, in my opinion. Lots of clients will come to you with, oh, well, I want, X, Y, Z, and they spell it all out. But really, they may not be seeing all the value or what it could be if they bump up a little bit and take that suite, or if they look at a property that's closer to the airport because maybe they're just going for a quick in and out long weekend. They might not necessarily want to be in that transfer van for 2 hours to get to where they're going. So you maybe want to look at another resort that's a little bit closer, but just as nice or nicer. Maybe they're asked for a hotel accommodation, and that is known for nightlife, but in talking to them, they're more inclined to want to laze around on the beach for this particular holiday. Include that other option for them and let them make the best decision. You always, of course, want to price what they ask you for. You don't not want to do that. But as you're talking and listening to them, and as you get more and more familiar with many of the properties, the holidays, and the different itineraries, you'll be able to offer what maybe some additional options that might make all the difference, or add-ons to what they are asking for that could make all the difference. So yes, you'll want to do a high, medium, and low type of quote. High first, of course, if you're trying to bump them up to a suite or the butler service, maybe it's their anniversary, you'll want to paint the picture of, oh, well, this is your 25th wedding anniversary. Let's do it up a little. It's only 300 more pounds to add this, this, and this, and you'll go through the value of what they'll get with that higher priced trip. Then, of course, the medium, the middle, what they're asking for, usually that falls into the middle. And then the low end, if they want to save a couple of more dollars, you can, of course, give them the low end or the lead-in category and paint that picture. So at least you can save the sale and it doesn't turn into a total no, because maybe the price point wasn't what they were looking for. But don't assume budget's the only priority. Again, many of your clients are going to be saving all year to do a nice holiday. And even with this coronavirus going on, when it's all said and done and blown over, people might make the decision to not get that new patio set for the backyard, or not renovate their kitchen like they were going to, but they're definitely going to want to take that holiday because they've been cooped up in the house for all this long time. So we definitely want to make sure we are creating that experience for them. This is going to be their first time back out of the house, and they want to, have a great time. So we want to make that experience wonderful for them. Not only will they come back to you, but they'll refer friends and family. So don't always look at the price, look at the actual experience and value for that holiday. Of course, I know we have a lot, like I said, we have a lot of newer agents on the line, and I thank you so much for joining up. You're going to have a fabulous, fabulous time. The travel industry is wonderful. But a couple of expectations that I want to kind of put out there. If you're brand new to the travel industry and don't really have much experience in it, these are some important things to know and understand, especially if your full-time work is around a lot of technology where you can press a button and everything works nicely, and you've got tons of different applications and the like to get through your day. Travel, I love it. I've been in the travel industry since 1996, but I have to say that the travel industry is always one step behind the times when it comes to travel transactions and technology. Yes, we are in a technological world, and we have a lot of technology involved with booking travel, but it's a lot of different technology. Even just to book a simple air transaction, you would be surprised at all the different nuances that are involved. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you book it in our booking engine. So you've got the inventory that was loaded, not by us, because of course the airlines that we represent are not InteleTravel airlines. They might be British Airways or Air France or the like. So we've gotten that inventory from somewhere. And that inventory might not necessarily come direct from the airline. Maybe it's a third party that we have contracted to save a little bit of money and have those fares loaded in the system. So we've got our system, we've got their system, and then we've got the actual airline where the seat is located. So if you book that air ticket, it has to go not through just one or two, but three different systems. Human hands as well. Everybody touches it along the way. Maybe you have someone that checks and makes sure it was actioned correctly. Maybe there was a hiccup with the credit card, and somebody has to take a look at it. Maybe there was some issue with the actual seat and that price. Somebody booked that lower price right before you press the button, so now that price isn't available anymore, and someone's got to look at it and kick it back out to you and the like. So it's a lot, very, very complex industry, and there will always be nuances because you have different companies, different platforms, different technologies, plus humans all involved in a single transaction. So if you have air, a hotel, a car, maybe if it's a cruise, all these different components are run by different places and different companies and different people. So there are a lot. I say all this to say it's not just one button and everything works. Yes, you hit the button, but then the signal goes so many different places. And sometimes if any one little thing is off a bit, it could create a lag. Someone has to look at the booking. Someone has to reconfirm. Maybe there was a segment that was unconfirmed and we have to go back and check. So that's why a lot of times we say in the travel industry, even after you make a booking, you've got to double check to make sure it's what's booked, right? You want to contact that hotel directly, or you want to go on the website and check and make sure that airfare is showing. You want to just do some due diligence because of the fact that travel, and it's always been this way, have just several different parts. So I know lots of times maybe something comes back unconfirmed and our client might get a little bit upset and, oh my gosh, and it turns into what they think is an emergency. Not so much in the travel business, especially if their trip isn't for, 3, 4, 5 months down the road. Definitely not an emergency. We always get things fixed. We always get things booked. But what we may think in our mind is an emergency, it will be handled in the order received. So really emergencies are, they're at the hotel and for whatever reason that virtual credit card didn't go through, so the payment's not posted yet to that hotel. Or they're at the airport and their ticket parted, they don't have the correct visa or something like that, and we have to help them. So just understand that there is a flow when it comes to customer service, when it comes to helping out with different bookings, and just the workflow in general when things are booked. So I definitely want to give everybody kind of a picture of what the travel industry looks like. We're always making enhancements, absolutely. We're always looking to improve the technology, yes, for sure. You'll hear about enhancements throughout the year and years to come, always. We're definitely always investing in technology. But lots of times we are also relying on our partners and suppliers to update technology and make sure they're compatible and talk to one another. So there could always still be a lag there. And I just want to make sure everybody's clear that we want to definitely make sure everybody gets their commissions. We are in this business to see you be successful. We definitely want to make sure that you get paid. And I'll go through a little bit in the slides of some common pitfalls that we could fall into where sometimes those commissions get a little bit delayed. But let's continue. So, so just to go off of what I was saying, if things happen to maybe delay or not go right, it's one of those, especially with InteleTravel, we've got your back. We will make it right for your client. We will figure out a way to get it to work in the most timely manner as possible. But we don't want it to be oh my gosh, freak out and everything's on high alert and you're freaked out. Because if you are on edge, then your client will be as well. Just know and understand we will definitely work with you to make sure that your clients are all on one accord and everybody is satisfied. Okay, So let's going through now. When you're finalizing a booking and you're taking that deposit, of course, you always want to get everything in writing. That's just to make sure that we've got their authorization. You don't really want to work off of a handshake. We can't really do that too much anymore these days. So please get all of your authorizations in writing, your credit card forms, if they decline the insurance and the like. While you are dealing with that agent, so let's say it's a deposit situation and then final payment later, you can hold on to that information, but you will want to get rid of it, for GDPR and all of our PCI compliance. You can hold on to the client information that you've gotten to talk with them, all about their kids and what they like to do and the places they like to visit. You can keep that in their file. But anything pertinent, any personal information, we would need to eliminate to be in PCI and GDPR compliance. So make sure that you have separate notes on your clients and you'll be able to shred the necessary information to stay in compliance, but keep the information that you are allowed to keep so that you have that marketing leg up for future bookings. Okay, so registering a booking and making a payment. Let's go to this part because there are lots of questions on this. A lot of the bookings, you will want to go into your back office and make your booking known, or what we call registering the booking. That's so we have a record of it being your booking, because we don't really know whose booking is whose until you've claimed it and registered it so that we can pay you, right? So you're going to go under that book travel, and then there's a register my booking screen. Once you click on it, it looks like this. I started filling one out. So when you fill one out, you're going to put your booking confirmation number, the type, the traveler's name, and then for the ones where we are merchant of record, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more depth, I'll show you the suppliers where we're merchant of record. But some suppliers, all we're going to do is register. Some suppliers you register and make the payment, right? So for those that you register and make the payment, as soon as you put the name in, I picked TUI as the example, the register and pay booking button will show, as opposed to just only the register, okay? So it's important for, if you see that register and pay, then that means you have one of the suppliers that we are what's considered merchant of record. Like I said, I have a list of those, and I'm going to go through that a little bit more in depth in just a moment. But you'll definitely want to follow the directions. It's very clear. Now, when it comes to uploading the file, there are many times, and we get this question lots of times, when you don't have the confirmation yet. Perhaps it was a phone booking or the like. It's fine to take a picture of that and then upload your screenshot of that snipping tool or that picture. Maybe you snapped it with your mobile phone. Either way, any of those work, and you can upload that as your document. Once we get the actual documents in the partner bookings folder, we can then add it to your booking because we see it registered under you and can match up the numbers. So you definitely want to add something. Even if you don't, like I say, if you have the confirmation, great. But if you don't have the confirmation yet, a screenshot uploaded will work just fine. Then, of course, you would register the booking if it's not a merchant of record, or register and pay if it is. Now, this is only for bookings that are done outside the booking engine, because, of course, anything done within our booking engine gets automatically registered for you. So when you have done a register and pay, keeping with this same TUI booking, once you've registered and made that deposit, it'll show on your commission report. Once you go on that commission report, you can locate the booking, and you'll be able to click right on the Make Payment tab for any future payments that you make for that booking. So if it's payments along the way, or if it's just final payment, Not a problem. Click on that Make Payment button, and as long as money is still due, it will show. So it comes up, the partial payment screen. It'll show your booking ID, the history of the payments, and then if you click on that payment section, it will show you what's left to pay and give you an opportunity to put in the credit card details and then hit the Make Payment button. So when you do register that booking, and I'm going to go back a couple of slides here, it's very important to always put the total amount of the booking, not just the deposit that you are putting in, because you want the total amount so you can go back later and make those additional payments if need be. Now, if you're doing a full booking, of course, you put the total charges and you make a full payment, and that's great. But if you're just doing a partial payment, like I said, you don't just want to put in what you are paying that day. You want to put the full amount of the booking, and then when you get to your payment screen, you can put $50, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, or whatever the case may be, and the system will realize you're going to make more payments later, and that button will then show on your commission report. We get a lot of questions in customer service around that because agents have put only in the payment amount that they're making, not the total amount of the booking. So very important to keep that straight. Okay, so of course, yes, you can contact the supplier if you have any additional information or questions around the booking. If it has to do with payments received or the lack thereof, just make sure, number one, it is registered in your back office, payments have been made, and if you are expecting the confirmations to be sent out, a lot of the confirmations, even though you make the final booking payment, they have to invoice us first, and then the information is sent out, and I have that on the slide. So let's go forward with it now. Of course, yes, you want to mark your calendar to make sure that you don't miss any payments, because you would hate for your client's holiday to get canceled because we were unorganized and didn't write down when payments are due on our own calendar. So make sure you stay organized there and you make those payments when they're due. Okay, so I talked a little bit about merchant of record. There's different types of suppliers that we have, and we have a lot of questions around the types of suppliers. Anything in our back office is, of course, booked automatically for you, and the inventory, we've worked out contracts with some of our aggregators, and it's available for you in the back office. Some suppliers take the payment. So let's say you make a Carnival booking or a booking with Major Travel. You make that booking and you pay all in the same place with that supplier directly. And then there are lots of suppliers that we have on board where we are what's called the merchant of record, or we say MOR for short. Merchant of record means that you've made the booking with the supplier directly, but then you actually have to come back and register and pay in the back office. We have several of these merchant of record suppliers. And again, you don't have to scribble these down very quickly. Remember, we're going to post this in an InteleTutorial, so you can go back for this list if you like. But we have several of our suppliers where we are the merchant of record, meaning you'll go on TUI's website, make the booking, but then register and pay in your InteleTravel back office. James Villas, Celebrity, Affordable Extras, Leisure Holidays. You see the list here. Some of them are coming. Cost Saver, Trafalgar, Contiki, and not in the guidebook. There are some of our suppliers that are coming soon, but they'll also be merchant of record. So, I'm sorry if I'm stealing more and more of your thunder there, Tricia, with these new suppliers. I apologize there. Anyway, so this is the current list of all of the merchant of record suppliers that we offer. And as the list grows, of course, we'll make sure that you're aware. But anytime you have to do a register and pay, that's an indicator that the supplier that we are the merchant of record. What that means is there is a cost of doing business with these suppliers. And I know this is a relatively new um, process that we have discovered because, again, it's kind of new for us as well. Um, we have never been the merchant of record before, so we're kind of learning some of these as we go as well. And I thank you for your flexibility and understanding. You'll see what I mean as I go through a little bit. So for the suppliers where we're merchant of record, there is a cost of doing business with them that we incur. We do split the cost with you, either 70-30 or 80-20, depending on your level of sales tier where you earn your commission. Currently, the merchant of record cost is 2.5% off the total amount of the booking. One of the things I said, this is kind of new to us and we're reviewing it and making adjustments as we go. This cost is always under review. It has been adjusted once already, happy to say. It did start at 3.5%, and we've dropped it a percentage point based off of the costs involved. And as those costs continue to fluctuate and adjust, we can adjust those merchant of record costs. So we are constantly looking at those because we want to save, of course, the most amount for everyone involved as possible. I did want to give an example of how the merchant of cost is broken down in a commission booking because we get a lot of inquiries in customer service of what that and how it's calculated. So I kept it simple with this example. We've got a 1,000-pound booking with a 100-pound commission. Because that booking is over 10 pounds, yes, that $3 admin fee will be a part of the takeaway. There's a 2.5% merchant of record cost off the total amount of the booking, not the total amount of the commission, but the actual amount of the booking. So that's 25 pounds. And so that takes me down now to 72 pounds. So after the 70-30 split, the agent portion is at 50 pounds 40, and the InteleTravel portion is at 21 pounds 60. So that gives you a quick math calculation of how the merchant of record, if it is merchant of record, costs. Now, if you didn't book one of the suppliers, or if you booked in the back office and it's over 10 pounds, all you would have would be the $3 admin fee, split it 70-30 or 80-20, and that's it. So this only applies, that 2.5% merchant of record cost only applies for that list of suppliers I had on that previous slide right here. Anything in the back office, it does not apply. Any suppliers not on this list, it also does not apply. This 2.5% is only for those suppliers where we're merchant of record. Just wanted to have you understand that. Now, quickly, when it comes to commissions, of course, we have, like I said, the merchant of record or the normal. Now, the merchant of record suppliers, since we were just talking about that, let me go through the workflow. So the agent, of course, books the reservation for the client on the portal, TUI, Hurtigruten, James Billis, or the like. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I have that. This is wrong. This is just the commission basics. I have it backwards on my slide. Okay, not merchant of record. This is just the basics. The supplier verifies agency credentials and the validity of the booking. The supplier pays InteleTravel the commission. So these are suppliers that are not merchant of record. I'm sorry, I have the wrong slide. I apologize here. InteleTravel posts the commission to the agent report, and then you'll receive your commission the month following its posted date. So this goes for anything in the back office. This goes for suppliers where you're not merchant of record. You make the booking, the supplier verifies the credentials, they pay the commission, we post the commission to your report, and then you receive the commission the month following the posted date. But for those that we are merchant of record, the agent books the reservation for the client, The agent then makes the payment in the back office for that merchant of record supplier. The supplier then turns around and invoices InteleTravel. So I'm going to pause there for a moment, because there are instances where agents make the final payment and they think the very next day they will get the confirmation. Not necessarily the case. Even though that final payment might be due 45 days prior to departure, the actual TUI or James Villas or Hurtigruten or Rail, no, not Rail Booker, sorry, because they're not merchant of record, will not send us that documentation until 14 days prior, perhaps. So, because that's when they invoice us. It's all with their accounting system. So I do want you to understand, if the commissions department comes back to you with, we haven't received the confirmation yet because they haven't invoiced us yet, that's what we mean. We're waiting for them to send us the invoice so that we can then send the confirmations out, the payment to them. And then, because we're merchant of record, we already have the commission. So they invoice us, we send them the payment, and then we post the commission to your report, and then you'll receive the commission the month following the posted date. So there is just that difference there. Wanted you to understand. Of course, we talked about this slide just a little bit, the importance of registering a booking. Vital information. We want to make sure that all bookings are registered so that you get your credit and you earn your commission. It's tied to your PIN number, and it's able to go through, upload in the system so that you can receive the payment. So you do want to make sure that you have always registered your bookings. I cannot stress that slide enough. I'm going fast now, but I just want to make sure that we understand how to read the commission report, because we've had some enhancements. So in your back office, under My Agency, of course, you're going to hit My Commissions. When you go there, how to read your commission report. A couple of enhancements show now. You have over here on the right-hand side an estimated versus a scheduled. So when you first register a booking, it's going to show an estimated time of when you could expect to be paid that commission. If all goes well and the monies are received from that vendor, that estimated will change to scheduled once we've received that commission, or if we're merchant of record, we've already got them commission, which is great. So it will change to scheduled with the scheduled date, and you will be paid that commission on that particular commission run. Now, if you notice an estimated and the date comes and goes and you weren't paid on it, then that means, yes, it's time to open up a commission inquiry to find out what's going on. Maybe the booking number was registered incorrectly. Sometimes there's some typos. You see how intricate some of these booking numbers are. Maybe some numbers were transposed, or an S is a 5, or an L is really an I, and the like. So it's always best to copy and paste when you have that opportunity. Copy from your confirmation and paste it right into your commission report so that there aren't any problems with the numbers being or letters being transposed. But usually that's an easy fix. We can go in, see what happened, and then match up your payment with the booking with the payment and get that right out to you. Sometimes the date will go by because we haven't received the payment from the vendor yet. And so that's also an easy phone call. You can please make to the vendor. Lots of times hotels are notorious for that. They haven't sent that payment along. You can inquire with the vendor, when are they sending the payment, and then have an expectation of how long it will take to get that payment. Lots of times we go back and forth with suppliers because they're sluggish in sending us the payment. So if you call and light a little bit of fire under them saying, hey, well, this was my booking and you haven't paid yet, that gets them going in a quicker direction of making payment. Of course, we always chase the bookings as well, but if we have the hitting from both sides, you and us, It makes all the difference. Um, so that's the new enhancement. Now, if you don't see your booking on your commission report at all, that's a very good clue it's not registered. So you definitely have a great way to keep yourself organized and see your bookings estimated versus scheduled. Again, once that money is in the bank and we're ready to pay you out, this will change from a yellow estimated to a green scheduled. It will say the word scheduled and with that date. Okay. Once you've been paid, then it will show an actual hyperwallet check number. And when you click on that, it gives a detailed breakdown of that particular commission check. So it has the check amount at the top with that check number, the date it was issued, and all the information that goes into that check, the different bookings and the amount. Now, this one breaks it down. Admin fee, yes, because they were both over 10 pounds, but neither one of these were a supplier where merchant of record costs came into play. So that's why that stayed as not applicable. And then it will give what the take-home commission is for the actual agent. And then, of course, if the agent has met the requirements to earn overrides, underneath, the overrides will show as well. So I just wanted to give an understanding of the commission report, the different enhancements that were in there, and so that you were aware. Continued enhancements are being worked on with the commissions department. We'll be very excited to unveil those in the upcoming months, but we have unveiled some to help explain how to read and understand the commissions. Of course, when it comes to commission requests, yes, absolutely, we are here to help. The top two reasons, of course, that commissions are not paid in a timely manner is that, number one, the agents might not have registered them properly or registered them at all. And when I say registered properly, it could be a transposed number or, something incorrect. The number two reason is that the vendor has not, paid us on that booking yet, if it's something booked outside the booking engine. Every once in a while, and I know a couple of months back, we did have some hotel and activities that were slow to pay. We apologize for that with the announcement that we had Booking.com and Viator, which are two of our main aggregators for hotels and the activities. Both of them had a blip in their own accounting departments that resulted in the payments being delayed by a month, and in Viator's case, actually 2.5 months. And that really threw us off because they only pay once a quarter anyway. And for them to be slow with the payment threw off a lot of agents' commission payouts. So we apologize there, but they're all caught up now. So hopefully you have seen, if you were needing some back-end bookings from the booking engine that hadn't been paid, that they have since been paid. If not, please let commissions know and we will chase those for you. But we really, I just want everybody to know and understand, we definitely want your commissions to get paid out. We work really hard with you to make sure that they are paid out. And we definitely work with our suppliers to keep the relationship strong while urging them to send any of those sluggish payments along so that we have, happy, satisfied home workers and everyone is making money, which of course is at the end of the day what we're all here to do. Of course, when it comes to tools and where you can learn more, always in the help tab of your back office, there's knowledge base. You can type in anything you would like to know, and different aspects and answers will come up for you to understand different policies, procedures, or frequently asked questions. The online training manual answers many of the questions. There's the InteleTravel University and commission videos that should be posted in your back office. The weekly webinars are a great way to learn about the suppliers. So even if you miss them live, like I say, please go back and watch them in your back office. And just get to know the suppliers. Get to know the players involved, how they pay the commissions, understanding what the rate is, and when the payments are issued, if they're the merchant of record, or if we're the merchant of record, making sure that you make those payments in your back office so that we're not chasing down payments, that things are due, and that the client's trips go great and everything's paid in a timely manner. Tricia, I know I had a lot to say, and I took up a lot of my hour here. Maybe we can go a couple of minutes over if there's some burning questions that I can try and answer quickly. So I'll turn it over to you. Hopefully there's some things in that question box.
Thank you, Dayna. That was really helpful. And yes, we have had some questions come in, which are quite important. We'll try and prioritise. I just want to say that a lot of people are asking about suppliers and partners. This webinar isn't really aimed at that. This is about the process of booking and registering. But I will just answer one question on the Jet2 for the sake of everybody. We have had meetings with Jet2. They aren't yet ready to extend their agency agreements outside the portfolio of agents they're already working with. So it's not for the want of trying, but please also remember Jet2 do not have price parity. So like TUI, there'll be one price for the consumer and maybe not such an attractive price for the agent or the customer booking through an agent. I just wanted to mention that. I'm not going to take up any time on that because Geraldine wants to go over some of the questions that have come in. So I'm going to hand over to Geraldine.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dayna. The first one, there's a bit of confusion around MOR charges. Would you actually be able to go back and re-explain?
Sure. Let me even go back to that slide so we can go through it one more time, because I know it was quick. I can spend a whole hour just talking about this, and maybe we will have a follow-up just with that information. The merchant of record cost. So these suppliers, if you were to book any of these suppliers, you make the actual booking on their portal or on the phone with them, but then you actually have to come into your InteleTravel back office, make the payment, and register the booking with that register and pay button. The merchant of record cost is the cost that's incurred for us taking that credit card payment. So instead of the Royal Caribbeans or the TUIs, when they take the credit card payment, those bank charges would come off of their end. Because we're taking the payment, we're getting hit with those bank charges. So that's where what I mean by merchant of record cost. It's just the cost of doing business with these suppliers. Now, we're splitting the cost, so it is not a cost that you are incurring all on your own. We split the cost depending on your tier, 70-30 or 80-20. And right now, that merchant of record cost, we're finding a 2.5% is what the credit cards and the bank charges, when you get an average of them all, come out to be an average of about 2.5%. Like I said, it was a little bit higher when we first introduced this at 3.5%, but we, under some review, realized that we can lower that number, so we lowered it to 2.5%, and we're still constantly looking at those bank and credit card costs to see if there's a way that we can, and if we can, we'll lower it again. So we're constantly reviewing that. But the cost, because let's say the cost of the trip was £1,000 in that example down below, the credit card, of course, the swipe, if you want to think of it that way, when you swipe the credit card in your back office for that payment, is off of the total $1,000, not just the commission amount, but the actual amount of the booking. So that's why that merchant of record cost is coming off the total booking amount, not just the commission. So we don't really earn the full £100 for that booking. After it's all said and done, we do pay either 70 or 80% of what we earn on a booking. That part is true. But if after the costs all come out, we only have 75 pounds, then it's not a smart business model to pay 100 pounds when we're sitting with only 75 because the bank kept 25 pounds for themselves. So when you're doing your recruiting or you're understanding the model, that is very true that we do pay 70 or 80%, depending on your tier, of what commission we receive. So hopefully that helps explain a little bit of that merchant of record cost and what it means and how we get it.
Thanks, Dayna. I think we'll probably be talking more about this over the next few weeks, but it is worth understanding that this is not exclusive to InteleTravel. This is just the normal way of doing business with the travel industry. In the old days, you used to be able to charge the cost out to the customer. But the new rules that came in, I think it's back in 2018, meant that you could no longer do that, and the costs had to be absorbed into the booking. And of course, companies cannot absorb the cost of doing business on every single booking, otherwise we wouldn't be in business. So this isn't exclusive to Intele, it is generic to the travel industry. So I'm just going to leave Geraldine now to ask more questions.
Great. So the next one's not necessarily a question. An agent has suggested that we circulate an MOR list. And what we think might work is if we go into the preferred partners list in the back office and actually update which are MORs, we can actually work on that over a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a nice suggestion. Yeah, that's a nice suggestion. I'll take that back to the marketing team. And because we can perhaps update that PDF file in the back office with just that. So thank you.
Perfect.
Let me make a note of that.
Is can you negotiate commissionable rates with companies or hotels that are not in the preferred partners list? And do we register them in the back office?
So if you mark it up, it sounds like you're going to put the total cost of the booking, and let's say you've done an extra markup where you want to pocket another $25 or so. Is that sounding what I'm hearing there?
No, I don't.
So yes,
Dayna. I think what this question means is if we haven't got a contracted rate within let's say somebody wants to book a hotel and we don't have a contract with that hotel, can they negotiate their own rate?
Sure. So, I understand. Okay, so yeah, if they're not a preferred partner, if we don't have a relationship with them yet, but they do pay out commissions to home workers, absolutely. Now they're going to have their set amount, what they pay. Normally it's 10%. I don't think you'll have much wiggle room there, but you can certainly open the door for us to be able to do business with them. Now, if we don't have a standing contract with them, there'll be some paperwork that the commissions department would have to send to that supplier in order for the payment to go through the banking system. So you would just need to alert us to that fact so we could get with that supplier behind the scenes and make sure all the paperwork is filled out, and then they can send the payment to us. But yeah, if you found a different supplier that's going to pay, and they do pay commissions to travel agents, then yes, absolutely, we can entertain that.
So Dayna, would that form, you said that there's a bit of paperwork, what would be the process for the agent then?
Really, it wouldn't be so much anything that the agent would have to do. They would just have to drop us an email to commission. So if you were to go in your okay, let me find it here. In the back office, when you go to that help tab, and then it has the help desk, under the help tab, the help desk, there's going to be a drop down in one of those that is commission inquiries. You can pick that, and you can just do a free form email type of message to say, I'm starting, I want to make a booking with this company and they need paperwork. Please contact them to be able to pay out the commissions. And the commissions department will know what that means. But just make sure you put who the vendor is and the supplier, so we know who to contact, and any contact information you have for them included in there, if it's a phone number or a name for us to ask for. So that'll help steer us in a quicker direction to get that information. But yeah, you can certainly just drop us an email on that and we can reach out. Or a phone call. You can call the customer service with the same information. They can pass it along.
Okay, great. Another question, can payments be made in installments?
Oh yeah. So if you have a deposit, and let's say it's a 5,000 pound trip, and it was a $250 deposit, and then they want to make payments along the way. You would just go into that back office, and every time when you hit that booking, you would hit make a payment. Oh, did I pass it? Make a payment, and then that payment screen will come up each time. So that's not a problem if you want to make just the simple deposit final payment, or if you want to make payments along the way. What happened to that slide? I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. But yes, that make a payment booking would be there, and you can utilize that as many times as you wish if they want to make monthly installments or what have you. Not a problem.
Okay, great. So an agent had made a note, she's a bit confused with regards to accessing the preferred partners. She thought that all preferred partners had shared login credentials. So just to clarify, each partner is different. So some will have shared logins, and some you will actually have to go in and register. But obviously, it's really important to always go to the back office under the preferred partners tab to the partner, and the instructions on how to access their site will be listed there. And just to know, if it is a shared login, at no point
don't change
the password, because we've had issues with Major and James Villas where passwords have been changed. So again, if you do go in and accidentally change the password, unfortunately, you are locking out all other agents from making bookings. So any suppliers that have a shared password, never change the actual password. I think
Right.
probably most of the questions that we had. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's us, Dayna, done for the moment. It's been so useful. We're having new agents join us all the time. It's really important that we understand the process, because it's not easy being a travel agent. And many of you have heard me say I was a travel agent in my 20s. And in my 20s, I had to sit there and I had to shadow people, and I had to learn on the job. And I think it's much harder for everybody now because we all work so remotely, and there isn't always the help at your fingertips, or so you think. So I think the more our agents get used to seeing what's in the back office and become comfortable with it, and the more that we can cover through these webinars, the better, and the benefits for the agent. So thank you so much, Dayna, for your time. And thank you to everybody. I don't know if there's anything else you want to close with, Dayna.
No, I'm fine. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for the time. And happy selling.
Stay safe and stay well.
Bye-bye.